let's dive right into today's explainer. We're looking at the awe-inspiring life, the completely unimaginable trials, and the unwavering trust of Prophet Ibrahim. This really isn't just some ancient historical account. It's an absolute masterclass in ultimate conviction. It shows us what it actually means to hold on to faith when literally everything around you is falling apart.
Just imagine, for a second, being the very singular voice of truth in an entire civilization that's just deeply rooted in falsehood. How do you even find the courage to stand your ground when your family, your community, and your ruler are all totally united against you? It's intense, right? This wasn't some philosophical debate to ponder in a classroom. It was the everyday lived reality of the incredible figure we are studying today. Section 1. Questioning the Idols. We start our chronological journey in ancient Babylon, where a young Ibrahim stood completely alone against his own father and a kingdom completely devoted to idol worship. Now, the contrast in their logic here is absolutely wild. He courageously challenged his people, asking a super simple but incredibly dangerous question: how could they pray to objects they carved with their own hands? I mean, he rightly pointed out that lifeless stone couldn't hear a prayer, let alone offer any real protection. But when he pleaded with his own father to abandon this ignorance and recognize the true creator, well, he wasn't met with rational counterarguments. Instead, he was immediately hit with hostility and threats of violence. So to prove his point in a way they couldn't ignore, he came up with a really bold plan. He waited for this major festival, a time when the whole town would be totally empty because everyone went out to celebrate. Taking an axe, he walks straight into their main temple and shatters every single small idol in the room. But he deliberately doesn't touch the biggest one. Instead, he leaves that largest idol perfectly intact and just rests his axe right on its shoulder. You can imagine the scene. When the furious townspeople come back and see this destruction, they immediately demand answers, and Ibrahim drops this brilliant rhetorical trap. He calmly tells them, hey, ask the largest idol who did it. It's the one holding the weapon, right? In their frustration, the people literally had to publicly confess that their statues couldn't speak or defend themselves. He completely exposed the absolute absurdity of their beliefs. But human ego is a really fragile thing. Instead of realizing they were wrong, the humiliated crowd chose the path of extreme violence. Section 2. The Miracle of Fire. This social isolation quickly escalates into a terrifying physical trial. The townspeople decided they were going to make a brutal example of him. Picture this. He's bound with heavy ropes, literally being launched toward a roaring, meticulously built inferno. But he doesn't panic. He doesn't beg for mercy. Instead, he utters this incredibly profound and powerful prayer. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, meaning Allah is sufficient for me and he is the best disposer of affairs. This one single moment really cements the absolute core of his legacy, tawakkul, that complete, unshakable trust in the divine plan, no matter how dire things get. And then comes the miracle. A divine command actually instructed that roaring, intense fire to become cool and safe. Because think about it, fire is just a creation, right? It only burns by divine permission, so it instantly obeyed the Creator's decree. The flames only burned away the ropes that were binding him, leaving Ibrahim sitting completely peacefully in the center of the pit, totally unharmed. I mean, imagine the absolute shock of the townspeople watching an execution turn into an undeniable display of divine protection. He carried that exact same fearless conviction straight into the court of the tyrant king Namrud. When the arrogant king claimed that he possessed ultimate power over life and death, Ibrahim just effortlessly dismantled his God complex. He plainly stated that Allah brings the sun from the east and dared the king to bring it from the west. Faced with that flawless logic and undeniable truth, the once powerful tyrant was left totally speechless, just utterly defeated right in his own throne room. Section 3. Miracle in the Desert. Following his eventual exile, Ibrahim's trials shift dramatically from physical danger to profound emotional hardship. Under direct divine command, he was instructed to leave his beloved wife Hajar and their infant son Ismail in the desolate, completely waterless valley of ancient Mecca. Really think about the immense gravity of that for a second, leaving your family in a barren wasteland. Yet, when Hajar realized this was a divine decree, her response perfectly matched his own unwavering faith. She trusted completely that they would not be abandoned, even in a harsh landscape entirely devoid of food, water, or any other human life. As their meager provisions vanished, Hajar's desperate search for help led her to run back and forth 7 times between the hills of Safa and Marwa. These frantic, hopeful steps became such a powerful symbol of reliance that they actually turned into a sacred ritual millions perform today during Hajj. And her pure reliance culminated in an incredible miracle. The angel Jibril struck the dry earth, and the unending, pure spring of Zamzam erupted right beside her crying infant, ensuring not just their survival, but the future birth of a whole city. Section 4. The Ultimate Sacrifice. Decades pass, and the ultimate psychological and spiritual test arrives, revolving around the very son whose life was saved in those desert dunes. To truly grasp the weight of this upcoming trial, get this. Prophet Ibrahim was exactly 86 years old when Ismail was finally born. He had literally spent his entire adult life desperately praying for a child. So this long-awaited son was endlessly precious to him. He represented the absolute fulfillment of decades of patience and hope. Yet the ultimate test of his earthly attachments came through a divine dream. And remember, in the realm of prophethood, a dream isn't just a subconscious thought. It is absolute revelation. This horrifying vision commanded him to do the unthinkable, to sacrifice the very son he had waited an entire lifetime to hold. It was a test of who he loved more, the gift or the giver of the gift. When he shared this heartbreaking vision with his son, Ismail's response was, well, it was nothing short of extraordinary. He agreed without a single second of hesitation, calmly telling his father to do exactly as commanded. He even asked to be placed face down during the act, just so seeing his face wouldn't cause a father's deep love to make Abraham hesitate or falter in fulfilling the will of the divine. The level of submission from both father and son here is just staggering. But right as Ibrahim pressed the blade down, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, the knife miraculously refused to cut. He had passed the test of total surrender. Having proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that his devotion to the Creator superseded his greatest worldly attachment, Allah mercifully replaced Ismail with a magnificent ram from Jannah, sent down via the angel Jibril. This profound moment of devotion is what established the rich tradition of Qurbani, honored by millions worldwide to this very day. Section 5. Building the Kaaba. Having passed every unimaginable trial, Abraham was rewarded with establishing a physical and spiritual legacy that continues to unite humanity. Father and son were joyfully reunited for a truly monumental task, raising the foundations of the Kaaba. The construction itself was marked by miraculous science. Together they placed the Hajar-e-Aswad, a special stone sent directly down from heaven. And as Ibrahim stood on a large rock to reach higher on the walls, the stone actually physically softened under his feet, leaving his footprints permanently etched into what we know today as the Maqam Ibrahim. As they built, they prayed deeply for a future messenger to arise from their lineage. Upon completing the sacred sanctuary, Allah gave Ibrahim one final, massive instruction. Stand on Mount Arafat and call all of humanity to perform Hajj. When Ibrahim asked how his single mortal voice could possibly reach the entire world from that mountain, he was told his duty was simply to make the call. The divine would ensure it reached every soul. And that ancient divine promise is exactly why a deep, magnetic love for this sanctuary resides in the hearts of millions of pilgrims who travel there every single year. Looking back across his 175 years on this earth, these continuously escalating trials completely transformed him. From fighting a massive kingdom of idolatry as a solitary youth, to surviving the roaring fire, to surrendering his most beloved son in his old age, he earned the ultimate, most beautiful title, Khalilur Rahman, the intimate friend of Allah. He left behind an enduring blueprint of what absolute, unwavering faith actually looks like. As we wrap up this explainer, ask yourself, how often do we compromise on the truth simply because we're afraid of standing alone? How can we channel even a fraction of Ibrahim's incredible bravery and absolute tawakkul when facing our own modern, everyday trials? His journey proves that true conviction isn't just some warm feeling in your heart. It's immense courage put into action.